Welcome, everybody, to the Montreal Expos franchise. We are here for Season 1's draft episode. I am very, very excited to see who will be the stars of today and tomorrow and really get a hold on where we're going as an organization, because right now we are last in the NL East with a record of 27-49. And today we have a couple of things to get into before getting to the draft. Even facing one of the worst teams in baseball in the Rockies as well. This is the battle, really the toilet bowl, if you may, for the worst two spots in the major leagues. And my goal is to not finish last in the major leagues. We do have some injury news that stemmed from last episode. Dairon Blanco has a fractured arm, and he is going to be out 1 to 2 months. And he was leading our team in average, as you guys know, and I've highlighted that last episode on base percentage and slugging. Like, he was our best player, and now we are going to be missing him, and it's going to be for 2 months, but we will get through a lot of this season in the next coming episodes as we kind of get through the first season, and this season is more on player development more than anything. Looking at AAA, Jamal Watson, who we've been highlighting the last couple of episodes, he's still hot. I'm going to keep him at AAA with the great season he's having. I want his development to keep going. Augustus Macklin has went up 2 overalls already. Alexander Santiago, he's went up 1 overall. And then we move down Buddy Kennedy as well from the major league level down to AAA. And he's doing really well, so I'm going to keep him down there, but he could be a guy that I move up soon. Terrell Tatum is a guy that's gone up in overall too. We traded for him. He was a 65. He's now a 66. We'll see if he does keep progressing, and I'm hopeful that he will be ready for the show next season, but we'll see. So to start out this draft episode, I first want to go against the Colorado Rockies. They are 27-50. We are 27-49. I mean, we are neck and neck for the worst record in all of baseball. But I want to see what our offense can do versus the Rockies in Coors Field. So we're going up against Peter Lambert in this game, and he is not doing well at all. A 5.75 ERA. He's got a 3-9 record in 15 starts. I mean, he is not having a great year. So maybe we can take advantage of a good pitching matchup for us, as Xavier Curry is doing okay, actually. 3.92 ERA, a 1.28 whip. Here is Kyle Higashioka in the second inning, and he will take this one deep to left field. It's always fun to play at Coors because we know it's going to be a slugfest at all times, and it's 1-0 here to start out the second inning. That's Kyle Higashioka's 9th home run of the year, and we'll see if he ends up leading our team in the end. Here is Lawrence Butler now in the top of the third with a man on first base. That's Tim Beckham, who rounds second, heads to third off of the base hit up the middle, and now we have runners on the corners, and Higgy is up next. And you saw what he did earlier. Can he do it again at one of the favorable ballparks for hitters as he gets a pitch over the middle of the plate and hits this one to the left center gap? That one will get all the way to the wall, and it will score 2 and make it 3-0, all off of the bat of Kyle Higashioka. Higgy is having a pretty good year behind the plate, and I'm actually excited for his future with us because catcher is always one of the hardest positions, for me at least, to find. Here's Lamont Wade Jr. to the plate, though, here to end the third inning with a ground ball to second, but at least we are up by a few runs as we enter the 5th inning. Here is Lawrence Butler with a man on first. It's Tim Anderson again, and look at this play. A ground ball, and Brendan Rodgers flips it to second, and actually, it's safe all around, and they're going to rule that a base hit. So here's Higgy, 2 for 2 in this game. Can he make it 3 for 3? No, it's just a chopper back to the pitcher, but it's going to act like a bunt. So now we have runners in scoring position here with Lamont Wade Jr. We saw the ground out earlier, but this time he squares it up and hits it to opposite field. It's going to score 1. It will score 2, and it's a 5-0 lead as Lamont Wade tries to get to second, but he's thrown out there, but we still have a 5-run cushion here for Curry on the mound. But we continue our onslaught here in the top of the 6th inning. Here is Jeter Downs, and he gets clunked on the back, and that loads up the bases here with no outs as the top of the order comes back to the lineup. Colton Wong has been hitting in that leadoff spot since we signed him in free agency, and he hits 1-2 second. This one should be 2, and it will be, but another run comes across, and it's now 6-0 here for the Expos. Here is Santiago Espinal now with the man on third, and he loves hitting versus lefts, and that one is driven deep to left field all the way to the wall, and it scores one, and the offensive onslaught continues here for the Expos as we take a 7-0 lead there in the 6th, and we move on to the 9th, and it's now a 8-0 lead. And it's a ground ball up the middle. Charlie Blackmon to Tim Anderson over to Lamont Wade. And it's going to be an 8-0 victory heading into the MLB draft. And a great victory here on the road here for the Expos. And like I said, I want to get that confidence going. And that's definitely, one thing that I want to gather here in this first season. Get some confidence, get some ideas on some players coming up. And coming out of that game, we get our first trade offer of the season. And this one's actually a pretty good one for us. For some reason, the Toronto Blue Jays want Austin Gomber. Now, Austin Gomber isn't having a terrible year. Actually, a pretty good strikeout to walk ratio, 60-18. And also has 94 innings pitched, and he's been healthy. 9 quality starts and 16 starts, 3.82 ERA. I mean, it's not terrible, but I'm actually pretty interested on why they want him. Well, it could be that they're just freeing up some financials because they know they're going to break the bank for Bo Bichette. And they're offering us Addison Barger, who is really his backup, and maybe just trying to offload him. Maybe Barger submitted a trade request, and now they are looking to unload him to a situation that makes sense. And who better than a new organization looking for young players than us? And Barger's 24 years old. He is a good fielder. His bat does need to come around, but he is a rookie this year, and he will have that rookie eligibility this year, so he could be in the running if he goes on a run. And looking at what they need as far as pitching staff, I don't see the need for Gomber, but maybe it's because he's just a cheaper option than the other guys in the rotation. Look at how much money they have spent towards a rotation, and maybe this is a future piece they see Gomber being. I'm not really sure, but we will accept that trade. So Barger comes on the plane to Montreal, and we put him straight into the starting lineup to face the Padres. We end up losing 5-3, but Barger, hitting in the ace spot, goes 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs in his Expos debut. So a very good debut for him. So we have one more debut before getting into the MLB draft, and you don't want to miss that because it's exciting. German Marquez is finally healthy. We will promote him from A-ball. He will get his first start versus the Tampa Bay Rays. And in this game, he went the distance. 114 pitches through 9 innings, and we did not give him any run support. And we end up actually losing this game 1-0 in extras. You can't make that up if you wanted to. German Marquez comes back from injury, 11 strikeouts, giving up 6 hits, 9 innings pitched, and we can't get him a win. That's just how bad we are at the MLB level. But here we go. The MLB 2024 draft is underway. And before we get into it, let's look at our top-ranked prospects in this draft. Let's start at number 1. Our number 1 ranked guy coming into this is Bobby Swigum from Pittsburgh. He is an excellent lefty, and I project him to be an all-star at the MLB level eventually. If I had the number 1 pick, it would be hard not to go with him. But there are a couple of good players that can go number 1, but Swigum's got to be at the top. That left-handed action, he's got excellent command. He can strike out a lot of batters. He's got good control. I mean, he can do it all. The clutch is there, everything. And he is pretty much every organization's dream to have an ace, and I think he's going to have a bright MLB future. Maybe the best college hitting prospect could be Rich Cabrera. Our scouts have him pegged as our number 2 prospect, and for good reason. He can straight up mash. I mean, he is a great hitter. He sees the ball well. He hits the ball well. He can hit it to all fields. He's a great catcher. He calls a great game behind the plate. I mean, he can really step in and be a quick contributor to the MLB level. And I think catchers are at a premium right now, and I think that he could really contribute to any organization that's looking for a catcher, and I think that Cabrera is probably going to go somewhere in the top 5. Then there's the best 5-tool prospect in the entire draft, and that's Dominic Fitch. I don't think he's going to make it to our pick at number 10. There's a chance, and there have been whispers that he could go number 1 overall, and I think he would be an awesome choice. This was him in high school, but after 1 year in JUCO, he's going to the draft, and for good reason. He is that good. He has a right-handed bat, and he has excellent fielding tools. He has an excellent arm. He has good speed. I mean, he is the closest thing right now in this draft to what you could imagine a player being in comparison to a Mike Trout or somebody that's a 5-tool player like, Acuna or something like that. There's another pitcher in this draft, Ray Cruz, that is gaining momentum. I haven't been able to see him live, but I hear he is a prospect that is rising up the boards, and he looks pretty good. But another hitting prospect that has a lot of home run potential at the MLB level is Peter Rodriguez. My big issue with Peter Rodriguez is that, yes, he has great power, but he's also going to strike out quite a bit. And am I ready for a player like that to be the face of our franchise? I'm not sure. I think I'm looking for a guy that's going to be a contributor, and he's going to hit for high average, hit a lot of home runs. He's going to be a good fielder. I'm looking for an all-around guy, and I'm not sure Rodriguez really fits that bill, but obviously we have 6 draft picks in this draft, so anybody can really fill those voids. It won't have to necessarily be the first pick that we have in the series, but we want it to be a good one. And one guy I covet is Cleveland Gilliam. I mean, this kid, he's only 18 years old, 19 years old now, and he is just an amazing strikeout pitcher. I mean, it's tough to get any type of contact on his pitches. All his pitches seem to move all over the place. He has a 2-seamer and a 4-seamer. Both of those are just tough to really judge what's coming at you, and I think he could be one of the top 10 picks in this draft. I'm hoping that he falls because he would definitely be our pick. I would say out of all these guys, he is the one guy I project to possibly fall and possibly be available. But if none of those guys are available, the top pitcher available will be Dorian Van. He's right now MLB ranked number 19, and he's pretty good, but doesn't do anything super well. But my sleeper here in the top 20 picks is Bill Hedger. He is one of the best hitters in college baseball, and I think he has a potential to be an all-star at the next level. Look at those hitting attributes. I mean, you can't find anything better than that. He is projecting to be a very good MLB player. So we start the draft, and with the number 1 pick, the Cleveland Guardians will select Dominic Fitch. I highlighted it earlier. I said that he can possibly go number 1, and he does. He is the best 5-tool player in this draft. With the number 2 pick, the Cincinnati Reds choose the catcher out of Miami and Rich Cabrera. Cabrera had a great 3-year career with the Hurricanes, and now he moves on to Cincinnati. And with the 3rd pick in the draft, the Rockies, who need a lot of help, they go after Ray Cruz, and this was a smart choice by them because they lost German Marquez in the expansion draft. They need to reload their rotation, and they have a lot of work to do in order to catch up with the Dodgers in that division. After that, Efrain Handy, who was actually the number 1 projected MLB prospect going into this draft, he goes number 4. So he falls out of the top 3, doesn't fall far though. He goes right after to number 4 in the draft. And I did my due diligence with Handy. I just did not think he was going to fall. Being the number 1 MLB prospect, especially coming out of high school at 18, is quite the feat when we have quite a bit of college players that are great. And to be mentioned above them, it's an accolade in itself. So I did not think he was going to fall to us, so I did not really scout him too well. I know he's a great fielder, though, and he's probably going to be a great pro one day if he develops and keeps doing well with his progression. Bobby Swingham goes number 5 to the White Sox. Peter Rodriguez goes 6 to the Kansas City Royals. Cleveland Gilliam doesn't fall far, though. He goes number 7, so that was my prediction in this draft. It did not happen. But then Chad Chaney and Brent Chavez are 2 guys I did not really scout. But Chavez I scouted a little bit, and then he ended up dropping in ranking from 9 to 55, so we just stopped even considering him. So now here we are with the 10th pick. And Dorian Van, like I said, if it falls the way that we would have not have hoped, where all of our top guys get selected, we would go after Dorian Van and he would be our number 1 pick. But there is a sleeper here, which I highlighted earlier, and it's Bill Hedger, because those offensive attributes are off the charts. He can also play third base, which he plays in college right now, and his fielding and reaction are great. Like, he has Gold Glove level potential. And then there's Carlo Hernandez, the sleeper, but I don't think it's right to reach for him right here. So with the number 10 pick in this first year players draft in 2024, we will select Bill Hedger from Texas Tech, one of the best bats in all of college baseball. I am excited to build our organization around him. He's going to hit right in the middle of our lineup at number 3, more than likely in the future. I mean, he can just straight up hit the baseball. He was born to do it. He is great defensively also. Now, he's listed as a first baseman in this draft, but having those great fielding and reaction attributes are probably going to be moving him over to the third base position to have a really good glove on the hot corner, and he is great right now. I think he's going to be a beat potential, and he's going to be probably in the mid-70s overall to start out. So there is a chance that he might not be in the minors too long before getting moved up. So I'm happy with that first pick, and now we move to our second pick. And a couple of guys we were looking at, Michael Pena goes number 31. We look at Dan Huerta, who was going to be one of our considerations for the first round pick, but I decided to drop him off the list, and he goes right before this pick. And now here we are picking in round 2. There are a couple of guys to consider here, but one guy that's really been on my radar is Luis Nunez. He is 18 years old. He plays 4 different positions. He plays the corner infield and corner outfield, but look at the hitting attributes along with the fielding. Like, he is pretty good. But then should we go after the surefire A potential in TJ Sohn, but he does not have a upside as far as his bat. So we decide to go with the young gun. With our second pick, it's Luis Nunez from Mexico. He comes in as an 18-year-old prospect, and I love this combination of choosing Bill Hedger and Luis Nunez, because now we have a guy that's going to be ready for the bigs pretty quickly, and then a guy we can take our time with Nunez. And Nunez can absolutely mash the baseball, especially versus left-handed pitching. He's got great power. Now, I see him probably being a corner outfielder because he's got potential to have a really good arm. So I think that even playing him in left field is probably his long-term outlook, maybe even right field. Like, I think he's going to have, the arm to play outfield, and he also is not that slow. So I think he can be an amazing prospect at least 2 years down the line. So on to the third round, and TJ Sohn, I said Sohn earlier, he goes, and I was definitely thinking about getting him with the next pick. But one thing we have not gotten is a pitcher. And Gary Brooks, to me, is my favorite college pitcher that is probably not a top 2 round player. And I run up the scorecard to the table. And with our third round pick, we select Gary Brooks. He is the only guy I pegged in this draft as being guaranteed A potential. And he will be the first in our organization. I'm not sure what that number will be, but somewhere between 91 and 96. I think the thing that brings Gary Brooks down to the third round is that he's not a great strikeout pitcher. He's not a great, command guy. He just does everything well. And for some reason, teams just cannot get a good bat on him. And he falls to us, and I will happily choose him with our third round pick. In the fourth round, our board is getting a little slim. And this is when you have to start guessing, but we have a couple of more guys that I do have scouted. First is Randy Lockett. He's got a power bat, elite arm strength, but the thing that turns me off is that he does not have a secondary position, so I can't even change it. Yes, I could, but I'm going to be realistic and play what he knows to play. So I go down a little bit to Bruce Edwards. Bruce Edwards is an amazing player out of Memphis. He was born in Florida, played his college ball at Memphis, played 3 years there, and he has excellent contact ratings. And we will decide to go with the risky move here with Bruce Edwards. I say risky because there's a chance he's a C potential, but there's also a chance he's a low B. And I'm banking on our scouts possibly holding on to that B potential, but Bruce Edwards could be a guy that could hit leadoff, hit towards the top of the lineup, and he's going to get a lot of base hits. Like, that's what his calling card is, and he's also really, really good defensively. So I'm looking at Bruce Edwards, I'm looking at Luis Nunez, and I'm looking at our first pick. I think we have 3 really good hitters, and we don't have many of those in our organization right now, so I'm very, very happy with those 3 offensive picks that we've had through the first 4. So on to round 5. Pick 141, and this is where you really have to guess, because if you see the scouting progress on these guys, it's all less than like 10%. So we're really, really taking a flyer on all of these guys. But as you've seen, I think the trend is, if we know a lot about a prospect right now and he goes to college, we kind of have a better idea of what he's going to be. But as an 18-year-old, it's kind of hard to figure out what that player is going to be, because it's harder to scout these guys. So we really take a flyer on another college guy here and go with Oswaldo Valenzuela. Now, we do not have any film on him, but we are purely banking off the fact that he is a 4-year senior, and he will probably come into the minor leagues with a higher floor. And then with our last pick, round 6, we're really guessing again. And I think the strategy is if you want to draft 18-year-olds, you have to draft them early. We drafted our 18-year-old, and I think that we have to go after another college guy. So I'm looking at some players here that maybe have some potential that is in the 80s, and I find Adam Ramirez from Missouri a very, very good fielding attributes here. He can play right field. He can kind of be a guy that you can move around the place, but in my opinion, I think he's going to just be a defensive utility player. In college, he played a little bit of shortstop, and he was really, really good, but he comes into this draft listed as a right fielder. I'm not exactly sure, but he's going to play all around the ball diamond. He is the one utility player I noticed in this draft that could play everywhere, but we'll see where he translates to when he goes to the major leagues. But I think that this guy has a chance to be a pretty good defensive player. Probably not the bat of the first few draft picks that we had, but he's going to be pretty good. So with our draft, I think we did very well. Like, obviously, there is a little bit of guesswork because we don't have some of these guys fully scouted. But I have to admit that I think we hit on at least 4 players in this draft, especially Gary Brooks. It's pretty much a guarantee that he's going to be a potential. I'm very, very excited to have an A potential guy in the organization. And then Bruce Edwards is a very good player also, but we only had him 50% scouted. So next episode, we will reveal, what those guys look like. But I want you guys to make your predictions down in the comment section below. And I'm not really sure on Adam Ramirez. He could end up being a real dud because we only had him scouted at 10%. But I don't want that to dissuade us to thinking that he won't be at least good defensively. So that is going to do it for this episode. Let me know what you guys thought of this draft. I thought it was a very good draft, and I thought we did what we needed to do to kind of, take risk and get players that could be the cornerstones of the future. But next episode, we get into the All-Star break and the trade deadline, and then we reveal these top draft picks and their overalls. I can't wait to see what they are. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
I like getting money, I got time to get it. Target on me, so my car's a tenant. Dancing with the devil, I don't bargain with it. Bobbing in the dash, and the stick is with it. And I hit the 4-5 on the west side. But I'm from the east side, this how we slide. This how we ride, yeah, this how we ride.